Hi guys, welcome back. It's been a minute, but I'm finally filming an introductory video to who I am and what this channel is about because it's been long overdue. I've put out 13 videos, but then you really don't know who is behind all these videos. So my name is Melody. I am 28 years old. I am half Dominican, half Canadian. I was born in Caracat, New Brunswick, Canada, and then I lived for the first 9 years of my life in the Dominican Republic. I moved back to Canada in 2003, where I lived in Moncton, New Brunswick until I graduated high school. Then I moved to Nova Scotia for university, and I lived there for 10 years. I now live in Toronto, and I have been living here for the last 4 months. So this question I get asked a lot. So why did I move to Toronto? And the reason why I chose this city, it's because it's such a hub for everything. And I mean for food, for music, for arts, for international flights. It was a no-brainer. I've always wanted to live in a big city. And I've been to Toronto before because I've come here for concerts and I love it here. The energy's so great. There's so much things to do. You'll never be bored. And there's almost too many things to do. It's quite overwhelming. But once you live here, you get a lay of the land, it gets easier, and their transit system, it's just so much more advanced than the East Coast and so spread out. Like, Toronto is the biggest city in Canada. People reference it as like the New York of Canada. So I don't have a car, so in order to get around, I rely on the transit system like 98% of the time. I'll take the odd Uber here and there, but the fact that it's so widespread and with the subway system, you can actually get to places really quickly when there's no delays. So I think it's great for a commuter like myself when going to work. International flights is a big one for me because I have family in the Dominican, I have family in Quebec, I have friends and family on the East Coast, and it's just easier to fly out of here versus other cities in Canada like Vancouver and Calgary. And the only time difference is an hour, so in order to stay in touch with loved ones and friends, it's only an hour difference, so it's quite easy. Flights are always cheaper out of Toronto because it's a big city and it's an international airport. So a lot of pros to living here. One con is that the rent is really expensive here, and I get that comment a lot. It's like, why did you leave the East Coast? Rent is so much cheaper there. Rent is so expensive here. And Toronto is actually quite doable if you find cheap rent. And the way to do that is to live with roommates. So in my case, I have two. So my rent is really close to what I paid on the East Coast, so I'm not like losing money here to rent. The whole roommate thing isn't for everyone, and I've done it for most of my 20s, so it wasn't a really big deal for me, and I get to save money that way, so I'm okay with how I live. So this is another question that I got a lot when I got here was, what was it like moving from a small city like Halifax to Toronto? And the answer is, it was quite overwhelming. The first 2 months especially were really rough. I stayed at a sublet in Etobicoke for the first 2 months, which is so far out of the city, so it was so inconvenient to get around. Anytime I want to go into the city, it was about 45 to 50 minutes to get in. There's not much out there, not much to do, and I just felt super lonely, and I just felt so cut off from the city, and I wasn't getting the Toronto experience I wanted to, so my mental health really suffered. I felt super lonely. I only knew 2 people coming here, so I didn't know many people or had any people to socialize with, so that made it even harder. But I am happy to report that 4 months in, I'm doing and feeling a lot better, and it all has to do because in January, 2 months after I left my sublet, I found another place in the city this time, and I'm doing so much better because of it. Location is great, easy to get around. I'm actually in the city, so I am getting that experience that I wanted, and everything's going super well right now. So that was just a little bit about me, and now for the YouTube related questions. So these questions I get all the time about my channel. So the first one, why am I on YouTube? So before the pandemic, I primarily only used YouTube to watch movie trailers, music videos, look up recipes, and just any clips from like interviews from talk shows because I didn't have cable. During the pandemic, I was running out of things to watch. Movies and shows weren't being made during this time because everything was shut down.
How dare they?
So I turned to YouTube as my source of entertainment. I would watch home reno videos, van life tour videos, travel videos. I just fell down the rabbit hole that is this website. And once I found a few YouTube channels that I really liked, I would subscribe and then just wait for their weekly upload, kind of like a new episode airing every week. So that's what I looked forward to. So overall, watching all these YouTube videos just brings me so much joy, and I just want to do that for others, so that's why I'm doing this. So the second question I usually get is, what is my YouTube channel about and what to expect in terms of content? So I have a lot of interests, so my YouTube channel won't be specifically about one thing. It won't be super niche, but expect a lot of Toronto, food, and travel content. Right now, making YouTube videos is a hobby for me, but the hope is that one day I will be able to do this part-time or even full-time. All right, third question. What do I use to film my videos? So right now, I am exclusively using my iPhone 12 Pro, but I will be investing in a real camera sometime in the future, but for right now, my iPhone gets the job done. So in terms of what my phone sits on, I use the Joby GorillaPod with an external mic attachment, and I'll post a picture of it here so you guys know what it looks like, because of course I'm using it right now, so I can't show it to you. All right, so fourth question. I get this question a lot. Why did I name my YouTube channel Melody with an I? So the reason why it's named this way is because my entire life I've always had to introduce myself to somebody. My name is Melody, but with an I. Because traditionally, Melody is spelled with a Y or an IE, which is the French spelling. My mom is French, but she removed the E from my name, so it's just an I. So my entire life, I've always introduced myself. It's Melody with an I. So it's just so part of my identity now that I had such a unique spelling to my name that I just made it the name of my YouTube channel. So that's why I named it. So fifth question, someone had asked me this. Do I only travel with my mom? And the answer is no. I haven't done much traveling in my 20s just because I've been in school forever. Most of my travel, if not all my travel, has been with family so far. Most of the videos that I've filmed traveling and for this YouTube channel has been exclusively with my mom. I've had 1 or 2 videos with my sister, but it has been mostly my mom. Obviously, I'm very open to traveling with other people or even doing some solo travel. Like, that doesn't really scare me because I came to Toronto by myself, so I'm independent enough to do it. So that could be something in the future that I could definitely film, solo travel. I'd be very open to it. So that's a little bit about me and what content you expect to see on this YouTube channel. So for those of you who have been following me up until this very point, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And for those of you who randomly found this video on YouTube, welcome and thanks for joining. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any future videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!